CourtTV Live, we want to turn our attention now to the OnlyFans murder trial out of Florida.
My name is Courtney Taylor, and I am about 8 days out from my first show, the NPC West Coast Classic.
Don't touch me!
What is going on? What are you going to get this mad at me when I'm apologizing to you?
It was very toxic. I saw proof with my own eyes. And I heard calls.
Decide whether or not you're done, Catherine.
I am mad that you told me to come.
Decide right now.
I can't feel my arm.
One man, but my boyfriend is dying of a stab.
Man.
Yeah, you should go. Because you just killed your boyfriend. Yeah, you did.
We are charging 26-year-old Courtney Taylor Clenny with 1 count of second-degree murder in Christian's death.
It's the case of self-defense or murder. That's what a jury will have to decide in this trial. The family of Christian Obumseli has filed a wrongful death suit against his former girlfriend and model, Courtney Clenny. Clenny is accused of fatally stabbing Obumseli in their Miami apartment last April. Now his family is seeking damages against Clenny and 4 other parties who are connected to the condo where they lived. We're so happy to have on the show right now to discuss this case in Fort Lauderdale, the lawyer who was representing the Obumseli family, Kimberly Wald. Kimberly, thank you so much for being on. This is a case that so many people are following, paying attention to. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, because there was a delay to charges in this case. Those 4 months or so before Courtney Clenny had to actually turn herself in and face charges for what happened in April. What was that like for the family? What were they going through during those 4 months of having lost Christian, but also feeling like there wasn't justice?
Absolutely. During those 4 months, this family almost felt re-victimized. It was bad enough what happened to Christian in the first place, but having to live through that and knowing that the person who did this was not behind bars, that is the absolute worst kind of misery that a family can go through.
Were they surprised by some of the things that we were surprised to see? When prosecutors announced those charges, they showed us this now infamous elevator video that showed the volatility of this relationship at times. Were family members of Christians, were they surprised when they saw that video, or were they personally familiar with how this relationship was and what this was like between these two people?
You know, unfortunately, the family was, Toby, in Christian's nature, he was not the person to ever be aggressive. He was this docile, gentle man. And they had started noticing a disconnect with Christian during the time that he was in a relationship with Miss Clenny. So when these videos and everything started coming out publicly, it was pretty obvious that she was the aggressor. She was the person being, extremely toxic, extremely volatile, when in those videos you see he was trying to put her off, trying to calm down the situation. And that didn't surprise the family. That's exactly the son that they know and that they raised.
Did they know that her behavior was like this towards him at that time, or is that something that he tried to hide or protect them from?
I think he tried to protect them from it to some extent. They did know that there was a relationship and that it wasn't the most stable relationship, but I think that he did try to protect them from that specific, extremely volatile nature.
All right, Kimberly, let's talk about this lawsuit that you all have filed against not only Courtney Clenny, but also the condo, the security company that was connected to this condo. And I'll get to those other co-defendants or co-respondents in this lawsuit in just a moment. But explain to people why you sue civilly in a case that's already got pending criminal charges.
Absolutely. So civil and criminal trials oftentimes go hand in hand. There's different types of damages that you can seek in both of these trials. In the civil trial, Ms. Clenny still needs to be held accountable. We know exactly what she did in this case. We have the evidence. We know she has assets. We know that her, in addition to the other defendants that we named, you have to be held accountable. And what the family is seeking here is justice. Justice both in the criminal sense and and in the civil justice system as well.
I think it's probably obvious to most of us. I noticed in your lawsuit that the wrongful death claim is due to a battery that happened at the hands of Courtney Clenny. So we understand the liability that is seen there. But talk about these other co-defendants. There are multiple ones named in the lawsuit. Why do you feel, or what is the legal basis for suing them as well?
Absolutely. The other defendants in the lawsuit are the building itself, the security company, the management company, and the owner of the condominium. In Florida, when you are a business owner, when you own a piece of property, when you manage a piece of property or secure a piece of property, you have a duty to make sure that you are preventing against reasonably foreseeable crime. And we know here, this is the textbook example of foreseeability. The property manager, the security company, the building, they had warning after warning after warning of this relationship, of Ms. Clenny's behavior, and they had an absolute duty to protect their residents and to protect Christian from this exact type of situation from occurring.
Can you talk about those warnings and how the building would have been on notice? Exactly what type of warnings? Were they calls? Were they the sound of the arguments?
Absolutely. The Miami-Dade Police Department responded to this particular unit 8 times in the 3 or 4 months leading up to this incident. When a police when there's warnings that these tenants are being so loud and so disruptive that your neighbors from floors above, floors below, neighbors from the building across the street, when all of these people are complaining about domestic disputes, domestic violence occurring in this particular unit, you have to do something. You can't just bury your head in the sand. You can't just completely ignore these warnings that are coming to your fingertips.
And that's an interesting take. I'm sure many people may not even think of that when they know that there has been a domestic violence situation that happens inside of a building, that there may be additional liability, potential liability. Is it something that's common that you see succeeding in civil courts? Do they go to trial or usually settle? Or what's the landscape there in Florida for this particular type of civil lawsuit?
So this is what our law firm has been handling for the past 25 years, is negligent security cases against property owners, against business owners. Because in Florida, again, they have a non-delegable duty. They have to protect any of their customers, any of their residents against reasonably foreseeable harm. And we have been successful. We have helped make buildings, make apartment complexes, make gas stations safer. And that's the mission of our law firm. That's the mission of our clients, such as this family, to make sure that the next time this building manager, the next time that security guard sees a situation like this, they actually do something to address it and to make sure that the next person isn't injured.
I want to get your expertise as a Florida attorney. I know you're on the civil side, but I want to get your take on the actual case. But I do want to play a bit of sound that we have from the interrogation of Courtney Clenny by police. This would have been before those charges, early on after this stabbing of Christian Obumseli. Take a listen.
Thank you. Somebody can come in.
Yeah, we're gonna start talking soon now. I'm just getting everything set up.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be like, I'm just like, I just cannot believe the way my day went.
Yeah.
It's way worse than I just really want to get to the hospital.
Yeah. We'll talk to you now.
I desperately want to get to the hospital.
Right. You know, either way, so you don't rush, you know, you still won't be able to see him at this point, obviously.
You still what?
You wouldn't be able to see him at this point, so that way you don't have to, because you're still working, you're still taking care of him, you know, it's a process. So I just
want to be there when I can.
So, yeah, once we'll talk about it, we'll talk about it, okay?
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Thank you. You're working on it. You're working on him. working on it. I don't not think that this was. I don't know. I really don't know if this is justified at all. I actually don't know.
Well,
I really don't know, because I know I was scared, but I really don't know.
Kimberly, do you think there's anything that's going to be surprising that will come out in this trial if it does go to trial?
You know, every trial, the more information you get, the more depositions, the more evidence that is uncovered, there's always going to be additional information that comes out, whether it's going to be surprising or not. At this point, there's already so much evidence against her, so much evidence against the other people that we sued in our lawsuit, the property management company. But like we said, every case, there's just mountains of evidence that continue to unfold as the case progresses.
And I should clarify, I wanted to know what you think about the criminal trial that is pending in this case. Courtney Clenny claiming self-defense, the prosecution going after her for the murder charge. Do you think there'll be anything that Courtney Clenny brings up, or is the family confident that this will be a successful prosecution now that we are on this track to seeing whether or not she will be responsible criminally for Obumseli's death?
Absolutely. The family is completely confident in the states and in the case here. There is no shadow of a doubt that Courtney was the aggressor. Christian was unfortunately a victim of domestic violence, and as the case progresses, the family has absolutely no questions whatsoever that this poor man, this gentle soul, was unfortunately taken advantage of, and we know what happened as a result of this very toxic and unstable woman.
Kimberly, Wald, I can't thank you enough for coming onto the show as our special guest, giving us all the details on this new information on a case that is really intriguing and tragic, all around the elements of domestic violence in it, and now a trial that is churning ahead, but I know not bringing back the loved one of your clients. But thank you again.